You ever stop and think about how doctors know exactly how much of a certain medicine to give you and for how long? Well, it's not a guess, that's for sure. It's a science. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it works.
I mean, seriously, think about it. The human body is this unbelievably intricate system. So how on earth can anyone predict what a drug is going to do in there? Where does it go? How fast does it get to work?
Well, the answer is they don't leave it up to chance. They rely on a kind of biological roadmap, a really powerful set of models that helps them navigate the incredible complexity of our own bodies. And these maps, these amazing predictive tools, have a name: pharmacokinetic models. They're really the secret ingredient that lets doctors dial in that perfect dose, making sure a drug is both safe and effective. So, at its core, a pharmacokinetic model isn't some physical thing. It's a powerful mathematical idea. It's basically a set of equations that beautifully lays out how a drug gets absorbed, how it's distributed through the body, how it's broken down, and finally how it gets cleared out.
All right, so to really get how these brilliant maps work, let's start with the most basic version out there, the one-compartment model. Think of it as the very first rough sketch of our biological roadmap.
You know, the one-compartment model is just beautifully simple. It basically treats your entire body like it's one big bathtub. You pour the drug in, it instantly mixes with all the water, and then, slowly, the drain opens as your body starts to eliminate it. It's a clean, simple, and honestly, a pretty powerful place to start.
But okay, here's the catch. While this model is super simple, it has one really big flaw. It assumes the drug just instantly and evenly spreads to every single part of your body at the exact same time. And in the real world, well, that's almost never the case, which is exactly why we need more detailed maps.
So how do we make our map more accurate? Well, we start adding layers of detail. We start to recognize that the body isn't just one big bathtub. Oh no, it's way more interesting than that. So enter the two-compartment model. This is a huge leap forward in accuracy because it splits the body into two key zones. You've got a central compartment, that's your blood and organs with tons of blood flow, like your heart and liver, and then you have a peripheral one, think muscle and fat, where the drug gets to a little more slowly. And just look at this. This graph shows you perfectly why that extra detail matters so much. See, the drug level in the blood doesn't just fall in a straight line. First, there's a really rapid drop as the drug rushes from that central compartment out to the other tissues. Then you see that slower, steadier decline as the body actually starts clearing the drug out. This two-phase pattern, that's a much more realistic picture of what's going on. And we can even take it a step further. For some drugs, you might even need a three-compartment model. This could separate the blood itself from other tissues that are rich in blood, and then add a third compartment for places with very little blood supply, like bone. The more complex the drug's journey, the more detailed our map has to be. Okay, I know this might all seem a little abstract, but this isn't just some textbook theory. These models are the absolute foundation of modern medicine. They let us figure out key numbers that guide life-saving treatments every single day. And one of the most critical values we get from these models is something called the half-life. It's simply the time it takes for your body to get rid of half of the drug you took. This one number is crucial because it pretty much dictates the entire dosing schedule. It's the reason you take one pill just once a day, but another one every 4 hours. So let's say a drug has a half-life of 4 hours. If you take a 100 milligram dose, after 4 hours, you've only got 50 milligrams left. After another 4 hours, so 8 hours total, you're down to 25. This predictable decay is exactly what doctors use to keep the drug level in your body right in that sweet spot where it's most effective. These models also help doctors come up with some really clever dosing strategies, like using a loading dose and a maintenance dose. A loading dose is basically a big initial hit to get the drug concentration up to where it needs to be really fast. Then, you follow that with smaller, regular maintenance doses just to keep it there. This graph right here shows you the power of that loading dose. See that bottom line? That's a standard infusion. Notice how slowly it creeps up to the effective level? But the top line? That's what the loading dose. Boom! You hit that therapeutic window almost instantly. In an emergency, that kind of speed can literally be the difference between life and death. And yeah, this stuff is used in incredibly high-stakes situations. For a patient who's having a prolonged seizure, that initial loading dose of an anti-seizure medication can be a lifesaver. Same thing goes for treating serious heart rhythm problems, where getting the drug to an effective level right away is absolutely critical.
So, we've gone from these simple little sketches to some incredibly detailed maps of the body, but what's next? What does the future of pharmacokinetic modeling even look like?
Well, welcome to the future, physiological modeling. If those compartment models were like simplified subway maps, these things are like high-resolution 3D satellite images of the body. They are built using real anatomical data, organ sizes, blood flow rates, tissue makeup, giving us this breathtakingly realistic picture of how drugs actually move through our systems.
So here's the key difference, right? Compartment models are empirical, they're really useful approximations. Physiological models, on the other hand, are mechanistic and incredibly realistic, but building them requires a massive amount of data. Their true power, though, their real game-changing advantage, is prediction. With these models, we can more accurately predict how a drug will behave in humans based on very early data, and that could completely revolutionize how we develop new medicines.
We've come such a long way, from that simple bathtub model to mapping the human body with stunning precision. With every new development, our maps get more and more accurate. But it does leave you with a final thought. Will we ever have a perfect map? And if we do, what will that really mean for the future of medicine?